Hey Rangers, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Crunch Time, which is Power Rangers Beast Morphers episode 18 of season 2. Now, before I begin this video, like always, like I've been saying, spoilers in this entire whole video, because there's going to be a lot that we kind of discuss. So I just generally thought I'd pop it out there, but you should know by now, hence, yeah, I'm just going to say it. So, but if you also like this content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Yeah, let's just jump straight into it. Now, this episode to me was a lot more interesting than most, mainly because it felt like there was a bit more kind of suspense. And the fact is that you knew exactly what was happening at the very first moment when you saw Blaze. Now, I will say this. Ben and Betty, out of the entire whole series, has never really annoyed me or angered me until I had seen this particular episode. And it just felt like they were only in this for comical stuff. Like, I can understand that we've had more, but I really didn't like them in this episode. In fact, I don't know why they were all here. Now, the two parts, because I will probably forget talking about it. One is that Blaze brings in this kind of like data core that he found from the destruction of Robo-Roxy when she was giant. And then the second point is that they build this like kind of trap for Evox, and Ben and Betty get stuck in there, and this janitor locks them in, doesn't realize what he's done, and starts dancing around. Now, you kind of think that if there are other people in this room, or you would look around to see what you've done, but it felt like this guy just didn't care. And just the way that Ben and Betty were able to summon the Rangers' weapons, that also irritated me. So if you have like one of the transpod things, or the risk communicators, or risk comms, whatever you want to call them, as long as you have one of those, you can now summon all the Rangers' weapons, which again, I generally would not have done. This episode is basically Devon under like a bad influence, and this is mainly through Blaze. And we find out that this is Robo Blaze. And one thing is, out of all of this, is if you know that your two worst villains, Robo Blaze and Robo Roxy, are out there or have been, you would have some sort of kind of device to say, yes, these are robots, and be able to kind of sort it out. And it felt like the Rangers to me were just very kind of, oh hey, how you doing? Not been around for a while, gonna check out who you are. Hey, doesn't matter. Hey, just do this, you're awesome. I generally thought that you'd have more security or something like that. And it just felt like, it feels like Beast Morphers goes in progression and then step back. This would be something that I would have seen in the first couple of episodes of season 2. You know, they would check on this, and it just generally kind of irritated me. So the entire whole plan of this episode is basically Blaze, I was going to say Roxy, Blaze basically manipulates Devon into going with his plan. When the Beast Bots kind of like come up and say, hey, don't go with that plan, Devon kind of just falls with what Blaze has said. And you think that with being the leader of the entire group, you would instantly kind of take your own initiative, not just follow someone who A, has been trying to kill you through your avatars. Obviously, it's not actually Blaze, but then also you've got other things that kind of like add into this. And you think that you would listen to everyone's plan or read over both plans rather than siding with Blaze straight away. So to me, it felt very much like, huh? What? So we see quite a lot of stuff, mainly the fact of Blaze saying, hey, you need to kind of discipline and make your team a lot harder, like discipline them when they've done something wrong. And mainly the main focus is Cruz. And I kind of agreed with Blaze at the very beginning, and I'm really glad at the very end Cruz kind of like steps up and kind of like stands up for himself. I didn't like the fact that Cruz, when he's like, oh, I'm completely forgetful, I'm completely this, like it's not my fault. And everyone seems to be like, oh, don't worry, it's just Cruz, isn't it? We had Rave and we had Zoe kind of fight on their own against Railtron 2.0. That one, he's come back. And all of a sudden, like, Blaze coming straight in and saving them. I kind of liked that. It was something slightly different rather than him just going on the full-on attack. But when, like, Cruz and Devon come in, like, you know, Cruz is like, oh, I took a wrong turning. It's like, Devon should be able to take over and go, oh, we're going here, rather than let Cruz kind of take it. And you kind of think that over time you would have made Cruz a lot better, like tried to fix the memory or at least have a working GPS, because he keeps forgetting where to go. Kind of going to the very beginning of the episode, I really like the way that actually Blaze has actually kind of infiltrated them. He literally turns around and does that smile, which you instantly thought, bam, you're Robo Blaze. But it's just, I think in a way that he just infiltrated them straight away. And again, why didn't they kind of do this a little bit more? I think one of the other things is when Blaze gets hit on the arm, obviously it's a plot device, but you hear the metal clunk and you're like, oh, we instantly know this now. But he's like, oh, it's just a little scratch. So, I'll put a bandage on it, which is fine. Obviously you've got some battle damage, but you can easily patch it up. So that was kind of like to throw them off as well. Now, one thing that does kind of annoy me is the Beast Bots come up and say that they can't fight in a hangar, that it will damage them and they don't want to take that damage and it will do stuff. And literally just Devon and that just completely go against it. And I thought that Devon would listen to these plans, but nope, it was just literally, oh, we can't fight in the hangar. It's a really bad idea. There's not much space. What can we do? Oopsie, oopsie, oopsie. And then all of a sudden it's just like they get damaged and it's like, no. Now, normally speaking on this, you generally would have gone, well, the hangar isn't that big for a fight anyway. Even if you held Evox to the wall, which they do in this episode, he's going to fire blasts at you. He's not going to go down like, oh, I'm going to be just trapped in another box right now. Oopsie. Little things like that. And obviously, like, even when you saw it, and literally you got the Beast Bots going, we can't do this, please. This is a bad idea. You would kind of go, yeah, gonna take this back outside. Everyone try and get him outside and fight. Now, obviously, I know you want to contain Evox, that's good. But to me, it just felt like there was a lot more, like the plan could have been thought out a lot more rather than just Blaze coming in and going, hey, this is my plan. This is the best plan. This is the plan that we all should be doing. Follow my plan and no other plan at all. And it just genuinely kind of frustrated me seeing that. Like, that you've seen how big that hangar is, so you would obviously listen to all plans, not just Blaze's. But one thing is, even Nate goes, you're the leader, you choose. You think that the entire team would also speak up and go, no, the hangar is a bad idea. We can obviously fight this outside and then obviously throw Evox down into the kind of pit anyway. Now we get this really cool fight scene with this brand new kind of Robotron that Evox is controlling. And obviously the Rangers do fight. They get them into the hangar and it goes crazy. Now I think that if there is no more footage of the Megazords being used in the last kind of couple of episodes, this was a great way of kind of destroying them and mobilizing them so they couldn't be used much later on. And I love the kind of process on this. It was done quickly. The Zords literally got absolutely hammered, and it's something that we don't normally see. It's always Rangers win, but I really do love it when the Rangers actually get their asses handed to them, and this was a very perfectly good way. Now, having Evox in the base and they all attack him, and literally just almost not wipe him out, but at least they beat him to the point where he gets defeated. They teleport him into this cage that no one can escape. And I generally love the fact that this is a whole plot to actually get into probably the computer system, back into the morphing grid, because just the way that Evox is standing in his cell, he's not moving. He is literally just standing there, which made me kind of think that maybe he's trying to download himself into the Grid Battle Force computers again, or try to access something. It wouldn't kind of put it past me that Evox would try this. I also did like the fact that at the very end, as I mentioned before, Cruz does stand up for himself. That was really good. I'm glad that he did that, because it felt like over this entire whole episode, everyone's just been slamming on him a bit, and now he's standing up for himself. I also really like the fact that Blaze, he turns back to his cocky self. He's like, oh, I'm going to do it. And obviously we knew that as soon as the phone went off, you'd see Blaze going, konnichiwa, I'm in Japan. And that should have been literally the way of doing it. That's it. That is literally the way of saying, oopsie. But yeah, so he teleports out, and before he says like, oh, the plan is, he got him there, and then obviously Nate goes, well, what is the plan? We've got it. And it leaves it at a cliffhanger. It makes me want to watch the next episode, which I'm going to do anyway, but it made me really want to watch it and go, oh my God, this is amazing. But yeah, Some of this episode did annoy me. Ben and Betty just being, it was forced comedy from the snatching of the kind of data disk to the point where it was important and they just dropped it. I would have lost my temper with them. And at the very end, when they're trying the kind of like the cage, which is good, it just felt like the guy who's sweeping up just dancing, that it just irritated me a bit, because it got to the point where if you hit, you shouldn't literally, when you're going and hit a button and be like, oh, what's it doing? And then kind of look around to see if it's worked, done something. That kind of got to me a bit. I generally do think that they need to literally have something in place. So it's too late now, but in the future, if you have an evil version of yourself, either robot or avatar, then you at least know what's going on. Like, oh, we've got to put some security measures in place. I did like the fact that they mentioned that Evox has a dark past, and it will probably be revealed in the next episode, which I am very looking forward to, obviously, which is source code. So that's going to be one that will probably have all the information about Evox, and hopefully we'll get some backstory on Scrozzle as well. So gonna leave it there. I like this episode. I think it's one of the better ones that we have, or had, shall I say, and I can't wait for the next one. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. What are your thoughts on this episode? Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you like this sort of video and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as the cheeky communicator, the cheeky bell to be notified when more videos drop. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.